Right, you lucky people, RClare has been good enough to share her secret special rhubarb crumble recipe, and she's going to let me make a video. So, rhubarb from the allotment. We did our last harvest a couple of days ago. Consequently, we have got a mountain of rhubarb. This is nowhere near all of the rhubarb we've got. I'm not going to give you quantities. Well, some quantities I will, but like the amount of rhubarb, it depends how big your tray is, if that makes sense. So what I'm going to do with this is wash it all, take off the healed part of the end. I'm going to slice all that bit off where it was removed from the plant, wash it, and then we're going to cut it into inch-long chunks once it's washed. While you are preparing your rhubarb stalks, so taking the heels off, washing it, cutting it into inch-long chunks, get your oven on to 180 degrees C. I have no idea what that is in Fahrenheit. Use Google, find it out. If you've got any really big chunky bits of rhubarb like that, hang on, compared to that, can you see the difference? So if it's really big, fat and chunky, split it in half again once you've cut it into an inch-long chunk. All chopped up, inch-long pieces. Any really fat pieces have been split in half again, like that one was. And you'll see there's enough to cover the bottom of the pan. And it's actually, in most places, a couple of pieces high because of the depth of the baking pan that we're using, which I'd say is 2 to 3 inches tall. Just use whatever you've got really. Just make sure you've got enough rhubarb in. Leave a little bit of a gap because the crumble's going to go on top of that. Next thing we do is 10 flat level tablespoons of sugar. And sprinkle it over. That's 5, halfway there guys, 6, because those of you that are familiar with rhubarb, I mean if you grew up in the UK, you've probably had thousands of bits of rhubarb in your life if you went to a school, because it was a classic school dinner meal was rhubarb. It was like rhubarb, crumble and custard. Oh, I've lost count, 9 I think. Well, yeah, if you're familiar with rhubarb, you'll know it is quite tart. So sugar is your friend, basically. Sugar sweetens it up and takes away that really sharp edge that it can have if it's not sweetened. And then the next thing we do is 10 spoons of water. 2, 3, auf Deutsch bitte, 4, Nummer 5, Nummer 6, I just wanted to say sex, it's German so I can get away with it. 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 dessert spoons sugar, 10 dessert spoons water. It then goes into the oven for half an hour at 180 degrees C. While the rhubarb is in the oven, we can get on preparing the crumble mix, which is 150 grams self-raising flour. Done. Half a block, which works out at 125 grams of butter, cubed. Done. And the reason it's cubed is because it helps when you pinch it into a crumble mix rather than having a solid mass of butter. Cube it up and it'll break down a lot smaller and quicker. It's just better that way. It's not because we're fussy. And then, right, you might be asking yourself, what's this secret he's been on about? Why is it a secret recipe? Well, I'm going to show you now. This, just take the, here we go. You ready for this? This is what Claire uses. Cinnamon sugar. Okay, cinnamon sugar. She adds this to the crumble mix. Get a tablespoon. She adds this, and this is what absolutely transforms it. So I'm going to add a tablespoon of cinnamon sugar. And if you've never made a crumble mix before, you get your fish, is how you do it. You get your fingers in, get a wad of butter with flour, and you pinch it. Just pinch with your fingertips. Keep going like that until it resembles breadcrumbs. You get messy fingers, but it's actually quite relaxing doing this. So you don't need to see me pinch all this into breadcrumbs. That's all mixed now, and you can see it's resembling breadcrumbs. Nice fine powdery crumbs. That's the kind of consistency you're after. Now, if it doesn't end up like that, and say if it all goes into one big ball of dough, just add some more flour. If you're one of these people that just doesn't like rhubarb because it's too sour, there's nothing stopping you adding some granulated sugar into your crumble mix, which will help sweeten up the overall effect. I'd say a mix that size with the quantities of flour and butter, I'd go to about 50 grams of granulated sugar. I wouldn't really add much more than that. Our half an hour cooking time at 180 degrees centigrade is up now for the rhubarb, so let's get it out of the oven. Right, safety first, fun never. Protect your hand with something because you're getting a hot metal dish out of the oven. And also protect your worktop. Put it on something like that trivet. Oh my days, how sexy is that? So it's gone, started to go mushy and it's stewing a bit. That's amazing. Right, on top of that now, using our hand, we add the crumble mix. Right, so try and do it evenly. Don't just like splodge it on. You want a nice even spread. Don't forget to work it into the corners. You don't need to see me do all of this. Right, so I've added the crumble mix on top now. This is now going to go back into the oven, but I've knocked the temperature down to 150. So we've gone from 180 to 150 degrees C, and this is going to have 20 minutes cooking time. Once that time's up, the 20 minutes at 150, this is done. You can take it out, you can either serve it hot or you can let it cool down and cut it into portions, freeze it, whatever. It goes really nice with custard if you've never had rhubarb crumble before, so I can recommend that. Rhubarb crumble with custard. Thanks ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoy eating this as much as I do. I took this picture when we did our final harvest of rhubarb from the allotment, and it was on my Instagram account, so I'm using it here as well. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and if you really enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up.